up. Get ready. It's going to be a very, very intense journey. Begin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 50 of Frame Skip, your awful weekly video game podcast. Hosted by
I know self-deprecation is the joke du jour these days, but I don't like that. Do it again. We're not an awful podcast. We're just awful. We're just awful people.
Listen, who do you think is the number one video game podcast in the world?
I don't know. I probably never heard it. I don't listen to a lot of games podcasts anymore, I'll be honest.
I think I've heard of it.
I really like this one podcast called Into the Aether, where it's literally just two dudes who just play a crap ton of video games and just talk about it.
George, do you really want me to restart?
No, I figured. We're rolling with this.
Don't edit this out. I'm gonna look up who the top video game podcast is.
But
I'm your co-host for the day, Austin Eller, and I'm joined by people that are not so disgusting. First off, George Cam Newton Loftus. How's it going, George?
We're back, baby. Go Patriots. We're moving up in the draft, or we're getting Jimmy G. Something's happening. Wheels are turning. You cannot stop.
We're getting Jimmy G?
You cannot stop the Bill Belichick trade. We might take a rider on Gardner Minshew. I don't know what's going to happen. It's exciting. I want the Minsh sanity to come to New England.
Well, you caught me off guard with the Jimmy G comment. Is that like an actual thing, or are you just referring to like a wish?
Well, the Niners traded their pick, or they did a pick swap with the Eagles to move from, I think it was 12 to 3 or something. And I think that's because the Niners want a quarterback, and the Eagles don't, because they got Jalen Hurts last year. So like they're feeling good.
Well, hey, send Jimmy G back to us. I would be appreciative of that.
Everyone forgets that like he was, like one thrown pass away from winning a Super Bowl against Pat Mahomes. Everyone seems to forget that.
I love him. Dude, he's awesome.
He's all right. I mean, he's fine, but like, I don't know. I personally really wanted Justin Fields. I don't think the Patriots are going to move up enough in the draft to get Justin Fields, and that's too bad.
All right, wait. I have a statement to make.
Okay, I do too. First, I just want to point out that you look like pure white right now, and it looks like you are Kratos in God of War 1.
Oh, that is a Kratos.
I don't know
beard.
how to change the contrast.
But anyway,
I thought it was like, he looks like a European soccer player who just signed a big contract. That's what I thought the beard looked like today.
Who has never seen the sun in his life?
He's number one in the Apparition League.
Damn it! I have something to say, and it's important. So Kotaku AU posted something a year ago from Leah Williams. Now, again, this is from a year ago, of the top video game podcasts in the world. And I'm going to read them in order, and then I have to say something right after that. Kinda Funny Games Daily, Kinda Funny Games Cast, Filthy Casual, 8-4-Play, Game Scoop, Giant Bombcast, Spawn on Me, Retronauts, What's Good Games, How Did This Get Played? It's a terrible name. Sacred Symbols,
it's a
Gamertag
pun.
Radio.
It's a pun on the podcast. How did this get made? Okay.
Kotaku split screens on the bottom of the list. Okay. I feel in full confidence that the three of us can beat the absolute crap in a fist fight out of all those hosts at the same time.
Really?
And I am willing to say that I will challenge any one of those hosts for my entire 401k retirement for a spot on that list. In a one-on-one fight.
Oh, God.
Except at your own risk.
All right, here's the deal. I don't know Greg Miller. I've been in the same room as Greg Miller several times.
Yeah.
Dude is incredibly tall.
Yes.
Dude jokes about being fat. The guy's not fat.
Yeah.
I'd say he's like
Miller. I'm gonna pick him up by his stupid long, weird shaped legs, and I'm gonna power bomb him.
He is so much taller than you think he is.
I know. I've talked to Greg Miller in person many times, and you know what I'm gonna do to him? I'm gonna beat him.
But have you ever fought him?
Greg, if you're listening, your days are numbered. Right?
I used to live near someone on the Kinda Funny team. We'd hang out occasionally. I'd just like bump into them in the neighborhood. And then like one of them, we have a shared affinity for things 90s and Y2K. So
wait. Was that person part of Kinda Funny Games?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So do you think they can handle my right hook?
I don't know. They're from Sacramento. They're pretty tough. I I don't know. I just think challenging anyone in the video games industry to a fight is it's not why we do it, but Seth's gonna Seth. What can you do?
Perhaps it's what needs to happen, George.
I do think bullying needs to come back to an extent. I will agree with that.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bully all of games media to take their spots. Listen, what do you think happened to
We're also joined by the bully himself, Seth Slakehouse. How's it going, Seth?
It's going pretty well.
It's interesting. Like, sorry, the concept of like relegation on this list is really interesting. Where it's like this is like the top tier of games podcasts, right? And then there's like an amateur league, and then like an all amateur league, you know. And so like you're just constantly like doing your best to move up the tiers, and then like swapping. That idea needs to be explored a little bit more. I'm very on board with that.
The exact idea of No More Heroes.
I just don't know of No More Heroes.
No More Heroes. That's how No More Heroes works. The assassins.
They're all podcasts.
They're all assassins. So they move up. They fight each other to move up and down.
Yeah. I was thinking like real life, but I mean, this is a video games podcast, so I guess that was my mistake.
Real life, I will beat every single one of them with my 2 hands that I've forged in fire.
Okay. I mean, like, I'm not going to pretend I wouldn't like pay-per-view that because I would.
Who do you think would be the hardest to fight, Seth? Who would be the hardest podcaster to demolish? Oh, I agree.
I think Greg would just wipe the floor with you.
You are out of your mind, sir. Do you know what I've done my whole life?
I think he'd pick you up with those pendulums of doom he calls arms and just rock you like a baby and then throw you into the bay.
Nothing successful except for martial arts for the last 20 years, George. I am drop kicking Greg Miller through the PAX skyscraper window. And then
this is
mid-fall, we're fighting like a superhero show. We're just falling and punching, and at the end, a dust cloud, I'm on top of him saying, "You're kind of funny now."
You know what's kind of funny? Your career.
That's right.
Everything's kind of funny when it's in the toilet.
And then I just
my 401k.
And then I just let out a visceral, deep roar, and the rest of the games industry hears it. No one else, just the games industry, and they're like, "Oh, the new champion has been crowned."
I did,
and then people start listening to our podcast.
It's like Highlander. All the other Highlanders just feel when there's
you cannot die. Yeah, no, it's just like Highlander.
A spark. Oh no, Greg has fallen.
There can be only one. Yeah, thank you, Chris Lambert.
There can be only one Highlander.
This is an unexplored territory that, like, I do think there needs to be more fighting games that aren't about fighters necessarily. You know, like what was that game like Primal Rage, where it was like a dinosaur fighting game? I'm like, all right, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
like, hook me up with some of that. It would be really funny. Actually, I don't know if this is funny, so please don't hit me up on Twitter if this is problematic. But like, I don't know, like I'm imagining like the goths in the school like having like a good fighting technique, like the jocks having like a different, like almost like Zangief like technique.
Okay,
you know, and it is like the break fist club, you know, and it's just like every stereotype from schools and like that, like a non-traditional fighter in a fighting game situation. And,
are we still talking about games media as the characters?
No, I was looping it in because I'm like, well, they're probably the nerds, you know. And I was trying to blow it up. I was trying to make an extended cinematic video gammatic universe.
Yeah, I would 100% without anyone's permission make a fighting video game and put all of games media.
Just all of them,
and
just all
of their stats are below 10. Mine, 100.
Okay, so here's the real question, because everyone I know is asking this. Of the 5 of us, who would win in a fight?
Wait, out of the 5 of us. Wait. Me, the 3 of us here, and then Coach, and then Elijah. Okay. Does Coach have his guns?
Yeah, man, he's always got them. Always got him cocked and loaded.
Does he have his literal guns?
No. This is all hand to hand. There's no weapons, no accessories.
He's the hardest one.
Because
here's the thing. Here's like, Coach is so in shape, dude. I have to end that fight so quick. Like if that fight goes on more than 26 seconds. I'm done.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to be like Goldberg. You got to spear him immediately.
Yeah,
and just knock him out.
I can't give him a second to breathe if I'm fighting Coach Elijah. Let's be honest. I'm going straight for him. If this is a battle royale, I'm taking out Elijah first.
Austin, love you to pieces. He could snap you.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty low on the list.
Like a glow stick, my guy. Yeah,
I think I'm pretty low on the list.
Well,
so I'm like a toothpick.
That depends.
So.
How fast are you, bud? You're the skinniest out of all of us. You can definitely, if you can run out, if you can outrun Coach, you might last. But Coach is a triathlon
I don't think
athlete.
I could outrun Coach. I don't think I could outrun Coach.
What do you think is like the smallest object Austin would need to make it a fair fight? And when I say smallest, well, like I'm thinking like a physical object. Like I'm not counting like a gun or a knife, like a non-weapon object. Like, do you think like a brick would make it a fair fight? Do you think like a pool cue would make it a fair fight? A collapsible chair would make it a fair fight? Like
versus me?
Versus you, yeah. What do you think? What do you think Austin would need?
Smallest is the power of God. Like an option? No, honestly, if I like
that's in a prayer. That's pretty small.
Can I like carry like venomous snakes and like throw them?
If Austin had,
there's an NPC like that in my D&D game. Yeah, I support
if Austin
that.
had like a blade, like a bladed object, and a ton of PCP, he'd be a problem.
I don't want. That's not what I'm asking though. Like Austin with like 3 dinner plates that he could just like pull off camera and just like smash into your head. Like what would make it a fair fight in terms of foreign objects that are not designated weapons?
Anything can be a designated weapon.
Well, that's the point, but like not like a knife, like not like a blade weapon.
He is good in a recording studio. He knows his way around a microphone and a heavy mic, man. On and he swings that. I don't know how to defend against him.
He's gonna put the boom and boom mic. Yeah,
I'd love to beat someone up with a microphone. Please.
I'm not sure what that pickaxe thing is behind his head, but if he swings that in my face,
that's for measuring things.
Why is it hanging on your wall?
It's not a pickaxe.
It's Andie's.
It's a T-square, you dumb.
It's called a T-square.
Every time I see it, I think it's the pickaxe from Minecraft.
All right. Yeah, Austin, he could probably beat you up in a fight, but you could outsmart him in most math problems, so I like your chances.
A plus B equals C.
Yeah, 2 fists plus 1 foot equals Seth's dead, baby.
Oh, he does have the Minecraft pickaxe. Look at that.
Okay, that was not on camera. That doesn't count. You made an assumption about his nerdery. That doesn't count. What we're talking about is in the back of the footage, there's an actual architectural tool called a frickin' T-square, and you spent this entire time thinking that was a pickaxe. God, like Austin's but you're a moron. I don't know what to tell you, Seth. I love you. Love you to pieces.
Now that I know that, though, if I'm ever back on this show in the next few months, I'm just going to randomly switch that out and put the Minecraft pickaxe back there and just see if Seth notices.
Oh, yeah. Should we make...
And if he's like, oh, it's the same thing. It doesn't look any different.
Should we talk about how you're not going to be on the show for a long time? Should we make some actual content for this episode? Or are we just...
Yeah,
are we just
I kind of want to keep talking.
I thought we were. Yeah, I unfortunately, I guess for me, work-wise, I'm starting something new on Monday. We're doing a new afternoon live show at the radio station, and I'm on it. So I now have to stay like an extra hour and a half after work every day, which is partially good and partially bad. But I'm really excited for it. But yeah, because of that, unfortunately, unless we somehow figure out a new time to record or record later or something, which is a possibility, I probably won't be on for a while. And I'll still be here behind the scenes. I'll still be editing the show and interacting with everybody. But yeah, unfortunately, at least for, I would say, probably the next 2-ish months, it's going to be a little difficult for me to join this train wreck.
Dude, you know what would be so funny? When you just said, I'll still be here, I'm still editing and whatnot, I just got this amazing thought in the back of my mind of you just like hearing something on the podcast and editing in a clip of your voice, being like,
dude, I've done that. I've done that, and you haven't known.
Editor's note, absolutely not, Seth. That's a dumb idea.
There was maybe 30 episodes ago, there was an episode where I think it was one of the first ones with George, and you guys were like talking crap about Breath of the Wild. And Seth, you were like something about, I bet Austin's screaming internally, and I edited myself in, and I was like, yes, I am.
Actually, yeah, I am doing this. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
But yeah, so unfortunately, the worst member of this show is leaving. And that's
my
me.
God, are you negging the audience? Like, is that what you're doing? Like, negging yourself to the
audience?
Negging yourself to the audience,
Well,
so like it's helping them with.
If they
with
believe
coping?
that I'm awful, though,
Yeah.
if they believe that I'm awful, then you guys like will get a boost of morale from the audience. They'll be like, "Thank God that guy's
thank
gone."
God.
So I'm helping you guys out.
Thank God they flushed that turd. Get out of here.
So you know how I made the comment freeballing earlier? Can I tell a funny story real quick?
Yes.
Okay, so I've never told this story before, except to my like personal friends.
Are you sure? Like a recording about video games?
Yeah, like this is
never told this.
This is a great story.
Before. I'm going to put it on the internet for everyone.
This is a great embarrassing. This is a great embarrassing childhood story. So my dad hasn't worn underwear for like 30 years. He's like this old school, rugged. He free balls it every single day. Wears jeans.
Okay.
Goes to work, free balls it. Never had a problem, right?
Sure.
So young teenage, maybe not even
That's
teenage.
a little weird, but
maybe not even, maybe like 12, 13, around that age. Seth in middle school is like, I want to be just like my dad, right? So I stopped wearing underwear for like a year and a half, 2 years, until this fated day that changed my life forever. And now I wear the best underwear. All right.
Now I wear 3 pairs of underwear every day.
So we used to have to, of course, change gym shorts for gym class every day, and I always forgot mine because I forgot my gym shorts all the time. So I would end up doing gym class in the jeans that I would wear to school.
Ugh.
Oh,
But I was
I know where this is.
But I was freeballing, right? And we were playing a dodgeball one day, and one of these days, or one of the times, the ball was coming at me, and I took a big old step to dodge, George. And with that big old step to dodge, the entire crotch and back of my jeans ripped, exposing my free balling to the entire gym class.
Well, damn, Seth, why would you do that?
and so what was their reaction? What happened?
So the only reaction I do remember, I remember like a lot of people like, "Oh my God." But the only reaction I do like that's burned into my brain is this girl that was behind me being like, "Oh my God, Seth, that's so disgusting." And I had a huge crush on her.
Smart girl, get head on her shoulders. Yeah.
I had a huge crush on her, and I was like, damn.
Well, about that.
I was absolutely crushed. I went to the bathroom, and the gym teacher, Mr. Weaver, who ended up becoming my wrestling coach later on, was like trying to console me and be like, "Dude, it's all good. Like, these people are all gonna see that later in their lives. Like, everything's fine. Like, you know." And I'm like, "No, I'm never coming out ever." They had to call my mom.
Better bring me some food because I'm gonna die in here.
They had to call my mom, and she had to bring me some new pairs of pants.
Should bring you some underwear too, just to mitigate.
Yeah,
dodgeball round.
I don't remember. I don't remember if she brought me underwear or not.
So I don't know if that means.
I assume she did.
I would assume she did too. I mean, if that was the problem.
I do know that
like
since that day,
yeah.
I have freeballed a number of times. I can count on one hand because I'm just scarred for life. Like, if I freeballed it, it has been out of emergency and necessity.
I assumed it was going to be like a zipper situation.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought was coming.
Way worse.
Especially when you said you were playing sports in these jeans. I thought it was going to be a situation of like it scraping across or something.
Nope. Way worse.
But
I don't really get that though. Like, I didn't really discover button-fly jeans until much later in life. But like, man, the last thing I
wear button-fly jeans?
I did for a little bit. Well, I don't really like jagged metal near my stuff. You know.
Yeah. That's about right. I don't think anyone should enjoy jagged metal.
I didn't even know
personally.
Button-fly jeans anymore.
You know, this is way off topic, but since we're on this topic and it's related to podcasting, Seth and I have a friend who, I don't know if you remember this, Seth. but he was an acquaintance of ours, 6-7 years ago,
Okay.
and he is missing a ball because of a testicular torsion. And ever since he told us this, I'm like so nervous that that's going to happen to me.
I've known,
and you don't understand.
I've known 3 people in my life, not included, that's happened to.
Yeah,
because it happened to him in his sleep, right?
yes.
Yeah, all in their sleep. Happened to him all in their sleep.
What? How do you lose a ball in your sleep, man?
So what happens is the one ball wraps around the other if you toss and turn in your sleep, and it will actually cut off the circulation to the other ball. And dude, I'm telling you, this is way more common than people think it is, because I've known so many people in different contexts that have had this happen to them.
So make sure you're wearing high quality underwear that keeps everything in place. Basically, is where I was going with that.
Absolutely do.
I'm a hypochondriac, and so like I made one joke once about like, I'll probably die of lung cancer, and now every ad I'm served on my phone is just, small cell lung cancer, and like it always has like a picture of like something innocuous, like someone like grabbing their ankle, and it's like 3 unknown facts or 3 little known facts about small cell lung cancer, or it's like someone like coughing or like drinking water or something. I'm like, well, I drink water and like I have ankles, and so now I'm just like completely.
And now you're like, I sleep.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh god, like, you're telling me one of my balls is going to try to murder the other one, like in utero twins. You like, are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it's like a real thing that happens frequently, and it's very concerning. And I try not to think about it.
Caramba, I don't want that.
I was worried about it for a little while when I met because he was a football player that I knew in high school, and I was worried about it for a little while. And then I was like, if it happens, it happens. There's nothing I can do about it. Well, so on a related note, I transferred all my Pokemon from my 3DS versions to the Sword and Shield, and that was a super painful process, and I hated it.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be super easy. Why is there 2 services?
Yes. So I looked into this recently because I don't even have Sword and Shield, and I plan on playing it probably this summer at some point. But I wanted to look into it because I have Pokemon in my, I guess it's my copy of Sun, that I've had since Pearl came out. So I have like 15-year-old Pokemon in this game. And so I didn't want to lose them. But yeah, you need like, what is it? Pokemon
Bank.
Bank is the 3DS one. And you have to have a subscription to it, which is like $5 a year. So at least it's cheap. But then you have to have Pokemon Home on your Switch, which is a completely separate service and also needs a subscription.
Yeah, it's also cheap.
It doesn't make any sense.
Wait, hold on. There's also another service on the 3DS that will help you get legacy Pokemon off of like Crystal and like Silver and Yellow and like
the Poke Transporter.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, why didn't they just make a single thing?
So,
and just carry it
I
forward?
understand, Pokemon Bank was introduced first and originally.
Yeah.
And they made Pokemon Home on Switch.
Right.
Instead of just making an updated version of Pokemon Bank and making an application for it on Switch.
Right.
So, and here's the crazy thing too, like your Pokemon or your 3DS Nintendo ID does not have to be the same Nintendo ID as your Switch Nintendo ID. So what happens is there's an option to transfer your Pokemon to Pokemon Home into the Pokemon Bank. And then when you select that option on the Switch, it generates a network code. And you have to input this network code into the Switch version. And then you're like, it's like, okay, this is going to take a while. And that's all it says. And I'm like, how long? Maybe I have to, it gives you no direction after that. It gives you no direction whatsoever. And I'm like, so do I like press A for it to start? And I pressed A and the Pokemon Bank shut down. And I'm like,
oh my God.
And then Pokemon Home goes back to the start menu. And I'm like, do I touch things or don't I touch things? So I just pressed A to start and it's like, oh, your Pokemon have been successfully transferred. Congratulations. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just automatically say that?
It just seems like such a mess, honestly. Like I haven't done it yet, but I started looking into it for when I do transfer everything up. And it's just like, just I know it's like not necessarily Nintendo. It's like also partially Game Freak, but it's like you guys are just ridiculous at this point when it comes to like online stuff.
I don't know what the functionality is with Shield and Sword and stuff, but I remember like I grabbed Let's Go Pikachu, and I was actually able to get a whole bunch of Pokemon that were in an Eevee originally, just from Pokemon Go, and like that was super cool. The fact, like, oh, you're telling me I don't need to buy a second copy. I mean, I'm going to because I love this game, and I'm trying to collect every mainline series Pokemon game, and they're only going to get more expensive as time goes on for whatever reason.
Right.
But that was really neat. That's like, oh, you're telling me I could just like go out into the world and catch these for real and then transfer it that way. And like that I thought was pretty seamless at the time. Granted, that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And so I liked that. Did you
see the Niantic, I think it was the president, tweeted out in augmented reality glasses today? I'm like, dude, you hit me with that Pokemon Go augmented reality glasses, and I'll be walking right into traffic. I'll be like, yo, there's a Charizard.
Well, I saw too recently they had that kind of demo for like I don't know if it was the HoloLens or like the new kind of iteration of it that had something. It had like Pokemon Go in that demo.
I'm over HoloLens though. They showed that tech demo off like 8 years ago, and they didn't do anything with it. So
it seemed more like business enterprisey, right? Like,
they showed it off at E3 with a really cool Minecraft demo, and I'm like, that is neat. I would like to do that. And then they never said anything else about it.
I mean, honestly, like you guys are both big D&D fans, right? Or at least Seth, you are.
Yeah.
Austin?
I've never played D&D.
Okay, you would love it once you do play it.
You would love it.
But man, like that kind of tech for like, I don't know, like with like 3D controllers, like almost like a Quest or something, and like if a DM can like sculpt the actual like landscape you're doing there, like I mean, that seems super expensive for such like a niche case, but like obviously there would be more uses for it. But like I don't know, that stuff is super exciting. So I'm not giving up on HoloLens. I think they showed it off. Yeah, Seth, you're right. Like 10 years too soon.
Yeah. Speaking of Niantic too, this week they announced a Pikmin game, which is I guess going to be just like Pokemon Go.
They're out of control. They're out of control. Because didn't they announce like a Hogwarts game too, like a Harry Potter one?
Yeah,
it's already been out. I think
that's
right?
Hogwarts Legacy.
No, that's a different game.
Is that made by them?
Oh, wait, yeah, you're right. No, that's a PlayStation 5 game. There is like a walking Harry Potter game.
Yeah,
and then there's like a daily quest Harry Potter game that's not that.
Interesting.
Yeah, Niantic's out of control. Okay, listen, Pokemon Go is awesome. It's great, but you can't replicate that with any other series.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Well, and the thing is too, like, I mean, I'm excited for the Pikmin thing and I'll play it. But Pikmin is like one of Nintendo's poorest selling franchises.
As it should be.
Like
it's really stupid.
I hate you. You're the worst.
Well, we've already debated on who's winning this fight. It is one
of the worst selling franchises.
I like it because it has really big Dreamcast energy. I think that's why I like it so much.
But I just don't know why they chose that one. I mean, I know why they did, like, as far as the game and concept. Like, it kind of makes sense, but it's like I don't foresee many people playing a Pikmin game like Pokemon Go. I don't think that's going to take the world by storm.
Well, Nintendo doesn't own Pokemon, right? They own like a 49% share or whatever of Game Freak.
I thought they did.
I think so.
They don't own Game Freak.
No, they don't own Game Freak, but I thought they owned Pokemon.
They might own like the console rights to Pokemon. Like it's some super complicated thing.
Well, let's just look it up.
I think they just weren't making $1 for every dollar that they were making, and I assume this is just a way for them to make more money. But also, it's like, why would you split the market like this? Like, you already have like this amazing performing series.
This says Pokemon is owned by the Pokemon Company, which is composed of 3 separate organizations: Creatures, Game Freak, and Nintendo. So it sounds like nobody.
I'm sorry, what was the first one?
Creatures.
Is that some shady,
also known as Monsters,
Chinese like Black Ops Association? What is Creatures, and why have we ever heard
the
of
word
it?
Creatures
I'm
before?
Looking into it. Give me a second. They're best known for creating the Pokemon trading card game. So, I guess are they the people? They used to be known as Ape Inc., and since 1995 onwards, they are Creatures Inc.
It's pretty funny that they changed the name.
There's some shadiness going on with this company.
There's shadiness, but I don't think I'm thinking the same shadiness, because like they changed their name a year before Pokemon came out in Japan. So like that just sounds like Tenet to me. You know, like it's just like someone from the future is just like, if you do this, you'll make $1 billion. And so like they just like pass that information back in time, and they change their names from whatever ape to creatures just to sound.
And based off their
Wikipedia,
it looks like they do a lot of the modeling and stuff for the Pokemon. Like it shows.
So it's these guys.
Yeah,
it's
X and Y onwards. They've done Pokemon modeling.
These guys, they're the lazy ones.
All right. That's enough out of you.
Speaking of video games. 30 minutes into a show where half of it was about testicles. Seth, what have you been playing this last week?
Right back around to Pokemon. Been playing a lot of Pokemon Go. Having a great time playing Pokemon Go. Not free balling it. Me and Austin went and got a Rayquaza past weekend.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet. Hooked up. He carried me. And him and Andie, his girlfriend, carried me all the way through because I would not have succeeded on my own.
Dude, the remote raid stuff is so cool.
Yeah,
like I'm super glad they added that.
Is that a COVID feature or is that in the game before?
I think it's permanent now. Cool.
Yeah,
but it was COVID. It was a reactionary thing because of.
Well,
COVID,
there's just so many things that like I don't know how you can put back in the bottle. Like restaurants in Maine can now do like to-go beers, and it's like, well, I don't really see a stopping that now. you know, like.
Yeah, no, dude, it's super fun because for some reason, in the last, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, Pokemon Go has had just a huge resurgence, and I don't know where this came from and why. Like, randomly one day, I think my girlfriend was like, "Hey, we should start playing Pokemon Go," and I was like, "Actually, that does sound kind of fun. Like, we can walk around town and play it." And then, like, before I know it, like our first day playing, there's this person following us. Right? There's this person following us in their car, and we're going around beating gyms, right? And then I realized this person was following us, beating all the gyms that we had just beaten previously. And I'm like, I'm gonna get out of this car, drag them out, and beat them in the middle of the street, and be like, this isn't a game anymore. But then, like, all her friends at work are playing it, and then like these guys at my work are playing it. And then, like, Austin's talking about playing it, and like all of a sudden, before I know it, there's a super competitive Pokemon Go scene.
Everyone's playing it.
It's like, where did this come from? Everyone just got like
it must have been because the new games were announced. I think it kind of spiraled because that's what kind of kickstarted it again for me.
4 months ago, though.
No, it wasn't.
It was like a month ago.
It's like
my concept of time is non-existent.
I think it was maybe like a situation where like the people that are super into Pokemon and like huge fans were like, yeah, I'll start playing Go again. And then their friends started playing. And then like the more extended people started playing. And I think it kind of just spiraled.
I disagree. I think the new games were announced. I think it made a lot of like news, like actual like news.
That's true.
Because it was something positive, I guess, that happened. It was, some company announcing a product you could spend money on soon. And they're like, yeah, that's better than the way life has been going. So yeah, let's talk about that. And then I think people are just like, oh man, Pokemon, that was a lot of fun back when I played it. Because I feel like everyone who dabbled in video games at some point has played a Pokemon game. Like, I don't know which one is their first, but like they've probably at least been like, oh yeah, some kids at school were into the cards, or oh, some kids at school got me into the game, whatever. And I think they're like
franchise of all time.
Yeah, and I think they're just like, I wonder if Pokemon's on my iPhone now. Like them not understanding, like, oh no, that's only going to appear on Nintendo consoles. And they're like, oh, Pokemon Go, that's free. Oh yeah, I remember that from a couple of years ago. And I feel like it's just like them checking it out. Like I've totally done that where like, I don't know, they announced like the Avengers game and I went back and started playing Ultimate Alliance, like.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So both my nephews play Pokemon Go, and when I log in, my one nephew's like respectful. He understands I'm a Pokemon champion. My other nephew, like every time we're playing, he challenges me to fights. If you guys think I let my 6-year-old nephew beat me in Pokemon, you're out of your mind. I drain all his resources from him. I'm like, oh, you want your potions? Have fun recovering your Pokemon after I demolish you. Because I know my sister's not buying him microtransactions in that game. He's got to learn the hard way, George.
How much money have you spent on the game?
Not a whole lot.
Have you spent any?
Yeah, I have. I bought some cosmetic items for my character, and I think I bought 200 Pokeballs, but that's all.
Okay.
I need to buy some because there's like I understand. I made some joke about it, like how far away a Pokestop was for me the other day, and it's like 1.5 miles and it's super cold out. It's like,
wow, no wonder you don't play very often.
Well, it's like that. Yeah. Like I think I shared that like I got a house recently, and like there is a Pokestop like a quarter of a mile from my house, which like I just got a dog. Like I'm obviously going to take the dog for a walk, and like I'm absolutely going to take it for a walk in that direction. So I can hit up a Pokestop.
Hey, buddy, we're going over here for this invisible
Yeah,
thing.
come on, Goose. It's really important for us to walk by this campground. I know you don't like people or cars. That sucks. I really need some Pokeballs. I've thought about spending money. I want to get into it. It's so tough. Like I've got like 11 Ultra Balls left, and that's all I've got.
Yeah,
and
it's hard.
Like I got to level 20 in San Francisco, and I was like, I'm kind of bored. Like
I live in a triangulation of 3 Pokestops that I can hit from my couch at any given time.
Nice.
And there is 2 more Pokestops I can hit from walking to one end of the apartment to the other. So I have 5 Pokestops at my disposal at any given time.
See, that's awesome.
I live in the perfect area. And if you guys think for a second that I'm not dropping lures at every single one of them, you're out of your mind. I am balling in Pokemon Go.
See that?
I will say that's partially
that sounds so much fun.
It's partially what kickstarted me again.
Sorry.
Good job, George.
That's partially what kickstarted me again too, was because obviously, they add Pokestops, so like it just kind of changes. I guess they're like community submitted or something. I don't really know, but yeah, I checked the game about a month ago, and my apartment complex is now a Pokestop. So it's like the same situation where I don't have 5, but I have 1 where I could just sit in my apartment and I have one.
Once you hit level 30, you can start submitting ideas for Pokestops.
Well, I gotta show you this picture that she sent me.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not what I wanted.
But yeah, when the game first came out, I think I was still living at home. But the second I started at UGA and like walking around campus, I mean, campus is like filled with Pokestops.
Look at
so
this picture she sent me today.
There's
just
is that
Slugmas. Slugmas.
It's Slugma.
There's like 30 of them.
Well, there have been like Pokemon hours, so maybe it was like a Slugma hour or something. Because there was one maybe a month ago now that it was Drowsy. And I had like 15 Drowsy surrounding
I checked in on Drowsy Day, and I'm like, I hate Drowsy. And Hypno freaks me out.
You know what I hate more than Drowsy, though, now because of Pokemon Go? Cast Form. I caught
Cast Form sucks.
Like 350 Cast Forms last week. He just wouldn't stop showing up.
He's useless.
He wouldn't stop showing up.
He's a useless Pokemon.
And they could make him really cool if they changed him depending on whether you were in the games. But they don't. You just catch like an ice cast form. You're like, all right, well, you're getting sacrificed to the professor.
Look, he's not sacrificed. Okay, he's going to a farm upstate to hang out.
Yeah, what do you think?
He's getting transferred, and magically I get candies from that.
Magically turn into candy. It's like no, it's made from his joy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We don't coat him in sugar.
But I started playing Pokemon Sword and Shield again too, because I played like 15 hours of it, and I really wasn't digging it originally when I played it. And I think honestly, what really killed Sword and Shield for me was the Pokemon they added into Sword and Shield. I don't think I liked a single one of them, but I'm going through playing it again, and I'm having a good time. I really enjoy it. I think I underrated it quite a bit when it first came out. So
that's really interesting because I like those designs quite a bit. I like the Alola stuff.
The Alola stuff is really cool.
Like those like variants or whatever. And I know there's a couple variants, I think, in Sword and Shield. But like that was great to me just as like a longtime fan. He like really peaked with the series. Probably Silver and Gold was like probably like my heyday. And then I got super into it again in Platinum, which is why I'm looking forward to Diamond and Pearl.
I think it's well regarded that Gold and Silver and Crystal, of course, was probably the best generation there is.
For sure.
And that's also because of like I think the designs and whatnot. No, actually, see, like I'm looking at, there is a couple Pokemon that I like. I really like dog Pokemon. I'm coming to find out. Arcanine's one of my favorites.
Oh hell yeah!
And like the 3 legendary dogs are my favorite legendaries.
Those are sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm having a really good time with it. I really hate the starter Pokemon for the first time in forever. Like I think all those starter Pokemon look terrible, but.
I'm torn on Sword and Shield still because like I think the setting's actually kind of cool. It's just like little aesthetic choices that I really don't like. Like, I hate the map. I hate the design of the map. I think the map is awful. Like the way it looks like a actual like crappy like tourist map. Like I'm from a tourist town, and that's all I can think of is like the caricature stuff on the map. And I hate that it's like 2D. That is like totally purely aesthetic on me. So like I'm like, oh, that's not a real issue with the game. That's like a me issue with the game. But I really don't like. I like the emphasis on battle, but I hate the fact that you have to like dress up in like the gym's uniform or whatever to compete in the battles like that. It's just little things like that where I'm like, oh, that's kind of dumb, and that reminds me of like children who have to put on a gym uniform for gym class, and it's just like, oh yeah, I forget this is a kid's game. Like obviously as like a jaded 30-year-old who chain smokes in his basement, like oh yeah, like that's not my jam.
Because I don't think we were podcasting or barely even talking when this happened. What is your guys' opinion on Dexit?
I think it's kind of so this was the situation where they cut so many Pokemon out of the game and said they didn't have time, but it turns out that they were just like pulled over
so the pretty much the Pokemon and the models were completely copied over from Sun and Moon 3DS games into the game. And they said that they didn't have enough time to put them in the game, which could be true if you thought about it, because there's over 1,000 Pokemon now. Yeah. But it turned out it really didn't take that much effort, and they cut really weird Pokemon out. Like I think they cut out Blastoise.
Yeah.
And then when I tried to transfer a Pokemon over last night, I saw they cut out Greninja as well. And it seemed like they were going out of their way to cut out popular Pokemon and then add them in later. It's kind of what it seemed like to me. But I just want to get your guys' opinion on it, because I don't think we talked about it.
Yeah. I have mixed opinions on it. I mean, I haven't played Sword and Shield yet. Like I said, I do want to play it at some point before the Diamond and Pearl remakes and Legends Arceus. The thing is, to me, like, it got to a point with Sun and Moon where there were just too many Pokemon.
Yes.
Like, 1,000 is, like, too much. Like, at this point, personally, like, I'd be perfectly fine if they make, the new legendaries and keep everything else the same. Like, I don't necessarily know that I want, the next game to have 1,100 Pokemon or whatever it is. So, on that front, I was indifferent on it for Sword and Shield, because to me it was like, look, they got to do something. Like, I'm fine with them cutting it down. I think my problem is, though, it's not so much the fact that they cut it down. It's more the fact that, like, you still couldn't bring in those old Pokemon. Like, if you had Pokemon that you had for 15 years. I think it's perfectly fine to be like, okay, look, these are 400 Pokemon. These are the only ones that you can catch in this game. You can't catch, these other 600. However, if you still want to bring them in, that's fine. I think my problem is, and I mean, I'm basing this off of like knowledge that's just in my head, so I'm not entirely sure if this is accurate. But like I said, I'm pretty sure the data miners kind of went into that game and just found that they were literally just the Pokemon models from the 3DS games. My understanding was they didn't change anything. So their argument that, it took too much time was kind of just odd to me. If they were literally just pulling in models that had already been created and just copying and pasting them into the game. And maybe there's more to it than that. Like, I don't know. I might just be completely mistaken, but I just remember when everything was unfolding that it seemed like they were kind of just lying to people. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, so just from first glance, it looks like they cut out a large majority of the first, pretty much almost a lot of the previous generations. And like a ton of them, like a lot of the legendaries, and then they added them in like the Isle of Armor and stuff expansions. What about you, George? Where do you fall?
I'm a little torn. Obviously, I don't think they should feel obligated to include every single Pokemon ever, because like that's just kind of like ridiculous, like that's like every Madden game you expect every possible player who's ever played a game of football to make an appearance. Oh, like in like the Ultimate Team mode or something,
it's just hold on. Madden's catchphrase isn't gotta catch them all.
Sure, but like that's relative. Gotta catch them all that are available in the game. Like I have no problem reading it that way. For me, the thing is, one, why can't you update the game? Like Rock Band's been adding new songs every week for like the last like 15 years, 20 years.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's just like, okay, so we added 15 new Pokemon that are now like not even like now available in the game, but like can now be transferred into the game. So like that's a solution. I understand it's probably not an ideal solution, but it's also a solution to a problem that Nintendo created. So like, what can you do? Secondly, like, man, if the issue was modeling, like you guys have like started outsourcing so much work to other companies and like it's been fine. Like like how much did like Bandai Namco help out with like Smash on Wii U and like Smash on Switch? And like those games are super well regarded. Like, are you telling me you can't find a studio you trust to like render 3D models of Pokemon that like already exist as concept art? And like, like you're not asking them to create new monsters, you're asking them to render models of monsters that have already been created, you know? And so it's like, you're telling me like one of the most popular franchises of all time can't like, you know, loosen the purse strings a little bit to get some help here?
Yeah, none of it made sense.
Well, and I'm just kind of looking through now as well. I mean, and I'm sure this list changed because I know they added more in the expansion. But honestly, Seth is right. Like a lot of these that they cut are fan favorites. I mean, you look at what is it, Gen 3, and they cut out all starters. So they didn't have Blaziken, they didn't have Marshtomp or the grass type. I can't remember his name right now. And same thing with Gen 2. No starters were in the game. They cut out like Luxray from Gen 4 and Zoroark, which was a fan favorite when he came out. So it just seems a little odd. I hate you.
Well, no, like I think having a full dex makes sense for something like Pokemon Go. I do because like that's something they can like change and manipulate, and then also like everything is like Pokemon Go is never going to come to another console because it doesn't make sense to. Like it needs your data plan. It's only ever going to exist on your phone or on your iPad that has data, whatever. I agree. I think having 1,000 Pokemon in Sword and Shield would be too unwieldy, but like there has to be some kind of solution, I think, for like banking all your Pokemon together. And even if it's just like a checklist where like you could see that you have everything in Sword and Shield, you know, like it pulls data from your server or whatever. Because like, yeah, Seth, you're right. I was making a joke earlier, but Gotta Catch 'Em All, like that's totally like this whole thing was developed because a guy like loved collecting bugs as a kid. Like they added the battle system in last because they're like, oh crap, I guess we need something else. And that's why the battling system in Gen 1 is so broken. You know, like that's why special attack and special defense, like that's why psychics just destroy in that game. And so like there should be a solution. I think that's like generally my biggest problem with Sword and Shield. Come to think of it, is like there's just not a lot there that feels incredibly innovative. And like I think the game is fun. I went back to it a couple weeks ago, like after the Pokemon game announcements, because I'm like, oh yeah, Pokemon's cool. Like why aren't I spending more time here? And it's like everything that everyone has ever complained about Final Fantasy 13 is the exact same in Pokemon Sword and Shield, except it looks uglier. You know, like Final Fantasy 13 is still somehow a prettier game than any Pokemon game. And like, I guess I just don't get like, I know Nintendo gets a lot of leeway, but I guess I don't understand the patience. And like, people shouldn't like threaten Nintendo. People shouldn't complain overtly to Nintendo because like at the end of the day, it's a video game and it's not a big deal. But I guess they should have higher standards for Nintendo, like higher expectations for Nintendo, not just like cut them a pass. Just because like that game is so disgustingly linear, and like you see a little glint of like a hidden object. Like it really does. I'm sick. Like that's why I've been playing so many mods lately, like so many ROM hacks lately, because they don't feel like they're your first Pokemon game. Like they actually feel like they're made for people who've played a game before. And every Pokemon game, and I understand why they do this, every Pokemon game is designed to feel like it's somebody's first Pokemon game, because it absolutely is. But holy crap, like I need a little bit more from my game.
So first off, like I've rediscovered like my love for Pokemon this past month, and I'm really having a blast. But I agree with you. The games haven't innovated at all. And I saw someone post this quote from the dude who makes Pokemon, and he's like, you know, if we took all your ideas and put them together, it would be only Gen 1 Pokemon, and then it would be able to go to visit all the regions and whatnot. And he's like, we take all your ideas in the office and we read them out loud and we all laugh at you. And it's like, Okay, but your games look and play like games that are 2 decades past. So like the rest of the world is laughing at you too, you know? And I thought that was a really interesting argument because, like, yeah, Pokemon has this gameplay hook that people love, but even their updated games, the new ones that were supposed to be like groundbreaking, like Sword and Shield, they don't look good, and you can't blame it on the art style anymore because Sword and Shield were like, hey, look, like these characters do exist in like normal tall form, and these Pokemon like do exist in like non pixel form, and it's like, okay, but why do they still look like trash? And why do the animations still not connect and whatnot when people make you know counterfeit games and they look way better? So I don't know, man.
Right.
Like, and Game Freak definitely has the money to do it, but
Well, and I have hopes for Legends. I mean, it at least looks
same.
different.
I'm really
It
excited.
at least looks different compared to basically any Pokemon game we've ever gotten. I mean, I think my biggest concern, and I don't think I was on this episode. I think it was just you two. But you both obviously brought it up as well, was that trailer, the frame rate was like atrocious.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that is, fixed, but
which
I just hope that this is innovative.
It's so
Yeah.
curious because I was like, like a week after the Splatoon 3 stuff came out and just looked buck wild, like obviously Game Freak is not Nintendo proper, but it's just like, man, they put such a
Right.
good foot forward with Splatoon 3, and then the next week, like they just like the game looks great because of its ideas, not because of its execution. But like, man, that
Right.
execution is just bunk right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, Seth and I, we did talk about this on that episode. That was just the two of us, but it was like they really like pushed the boundaries of what was possible on Game Boy and Game Boy Color with Crystal, and they like made this thing that was just like mind-bendingly good and just pulled out all the stops for the platform. And then they haven't really done that since. Like they got experimental with some stuff. Like I think they were the first game to use like the wireless connector, and they had like the e-reader and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so like there was like flashes of them like
Mhm.
trying stuff, but like they haven't really just pushed boundaries in a long time. And like that sucks. That like that's my criticism, is like, you guys haven't done anything super new in such a long time. It's like, well, not a lot of people have. So like, why am I singling them out? But like, I really care. That's why I'm singling them out,
Right. Well, I think any other RPG series, I mean, if there's an RPG, and I'm sure there is, but for RPG series particularly because of how long they are, like, you play 150-hour long game every couple years, and if it's the same with not many differences, I mean, at some point it's like, well, what's the point?
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, honestly, though, a little bit. I mean, that's why I burned out.
You joke, but yeah, like I had to put Valhalla down,
Yeah.
And the only
Assassin's
reason I
Creed
got
is literally
through,
the same.
only reason I got through Immortals Phoenix Rising was because I knew for a fact it was shorter than Valhalla. I was like, oh, you're only 40 hours. Like, yeah, what else am I gonna do?
Right.
Dude, I got through half of Odyssey, and then the Psy came out, where I was just like, okay, well, I stopped having fun this about 10 hours ago, so I'm gonna put this down now.
I 100% of that game. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George, what have you been playing?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think we can go a little long. So my first off, I'm super sad because my D&D group was getting super interesting, and unfortunately, the DM has asked for some personal time to take care of some matters in their life. So we're respecting them, giving them their space that they need. But man, things were popping off in D&D. I'm going to take a quick aside just to talk about it, even though it's not a video game. But
that's fine. It's still a game.
Please do.
super interesting. Our Dungeon Master was incredibly into Warhammer in college and just like loved miniatures and like tabletop games. So they set up this situation where we were defending a dwarven city from some orcish army. And they gave us like a list of things we could buy to prepare for defense. And so they turned like this turn-based, like tabletop RPG, like a normal D&D game, and they turned it into like a tower defense game for a couple sessions. And it's been super cool. Like we got to like execute a plan where we knew which direction the army was coming from. So we made like patterns of oil basically in the snow, and we were able to like light them up to funnel them into like one direction. And then once they were fighting Harry Styles and Zayn,
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Sorry, that was a One Direction joke. Then we were able to like blow up like hidden pieces of dynamite that were like hidden in the field. And then like once they got past that, we knew what the blast radius was going to be. And then all of a sudden they had to deal with like punji pits, you know, like spike pits or whatever. And so like we just executed this like as best as we could. And then I rolled a really crappy die roll, and like our flamethrower cannon, which was like the most incredible weapon we had like on our final line, I rolled a 1, and that was like the one thing I couldn't roll. And then it exploded and like killed 2 people in the party like almost immediately. And I'm like, oh no, we might actually lose this battle now because I rolled a 1. And so I'm super bummed we're taking a break there. But it was just such a cool thing to see, like, you know, like an interactive story just like take such a genre turn and just become about something else. This one battle has taken like 2 6-hour sessions so far, and like we're not done yet. So we got some more to get to there. Besides that, I've been playing a lot of co-op games lately, man. It's been super fun. I played one game with my friend Colin called We Were Here, I believe is the name of it. And it's like a $5 game on PSN, and it's basically like a 2-person escape room where you're both in different rooms, and one person can do something to unlock a little bit of the next area for one player, and then once they advance a little bit, they can unlock the next part for like the first player.
Interesting.
And it was incredibly cool. I didn't know what to do, and then I just got a text message from my friend that just said, dude, you have to find the walkie-talkie. And so only by finding the walkie-talkie could I like actually open up voice chat with my buddy. And it was like super obscure puzzles that like kind of make sense in hindsight, but like I still don't know how I really did it the first time. And it takes like 2 hours to get the platinum in it. I'm really excited though, because that was basically just like a price tag demo. And these games have been coming out from this developer. I think they're from Denmark. They've been coming out for the past couple of years, but they're all getting bundled together now, like on PlayStation. So I'm really excited to check out more from these guys. And then I got a buddy in the industry who got a review code for It Takes Two, the new co-op game from was it Josef Fares? The guy did like A Way Out. Feel bad I cannot remember the studio name. But the way that works is only one person needs the code for the game, and then the other person can download what's called like the friend version, and then like they'll just get like paired up with their buddy on their respective platforms. That game's great. Like that game is really, really special. It's about like a family who's getting the parents are getting divorced. The daughter makes like a crying sad wish, like I wish they could find a way to like work it out. And the parents then turn into like clay dolls, and it's basically just like Toy Story from there. And it's just the fact that like I haven't done the same thing twice in that game, and I've played that game for probably like, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours at this point, is just incredibly impressive. It's such like a creative game.
It sounds like a really depressing game, George.
No, it's actually super cool. Like there's a lot of like bickering back and forth between like me and my partner's character, and then like it's both of us being like, oh well, you got it easy this time. And so like I feel like it's actually like getting me divorced from my friend who I'm playing with, which is great. As hanging out with them too much anyway. No, that game's really, really special. I can't recommend it enough.
The developer's next game is like World Hunger, a fun adventure.
It's been getting like stellar reviews, and I was not expecting that at all. I didn't play Brothers. I heard Brothers was good, but I did play A Way Out, and I enjoyed it. But I thought it was like an 8 out of 10 kind of game. Like I didn't think it was like incredible. It Takes Two. I thought it looked good, but I was like, is this going to be good like compared to A Way Out? But I mean seeing it getting like 9s and 10s across the board has like been amazing. So I really want to play it with Andie.
I really thought We Were Here was like my game of the year when I first played it, because I'm like, oh, I've never done that before in a game. And then I started playing this game, and I'm like, oh no, this is my game of the year for sure. Like the level of polish, the acting is really good. It's really funny. It's really weird. And again, like I just can't stress this enough. Like you're always doing something new in the game. And you're constantly being given like almost like new power-ups that, you know, you have to use extremely creatively. Like one of you gets like a hammer, the other one gets like a nail that they can like magically throw. And so like one person has to like throw a nail at like at the right spot, so the other person can like jump up and like lock like the nail remover part with their hammer and use that to like get across the platform. and then they have to like constantly like knock things over with the nails to like get you in a position where you can like platform up to like the next area, and then like they just completely like, nope, you don't have this for the rest of the game, you just had that for an hour and a half, and then they get rid of it, and then you're on to the next thing. And you can always at every point see the other person's screen. So if you're not right next to each other, you can be like, oh, look up to your left, because like you see the exact alignment of their camera and all that stuff. And it's just it's so great. I cannot recommend it enough. I think you and Andy would probably really like it. I don't think you'll break up from doing it.
Yeah. Are we gonna get a divorce, George?
I don't know. I hope not.
That was a game joke. That was a game joke, George. That was a game joke. I'll tell you what game would get you to break up, though. Overcooked. Yep. Overcooked. That game could make anybody fight with literally anybody. That game would ruin
I thought about
empires.
buying it. I thought about buying it because they released the next gen version, and I didn't realize that they literally like remade the whole game. I don't know if you've seen footage, but like it's completely changed.
I haven't seen it.
I didn't realize they had done that. It's like the graphics are like just entirely different from what they were before.
Are you sure you just were looking at Overcooked 2?
No, it was like they straight up like remade Overcooked 1 completely on the PS5 version. But not that that's like a game where you really need to have like amazing graphics or anything, but I thought that was pretty neat. But I thought about buying it because it was like $25 at Best Buy for the complete version, and then I was like, you know what?
And then your common sense took over.
Maybe I should save my relationship and not buy this.
Exactly, dude. Exactly, because I thought the exact same thing. I was like, oh, that'd be fun for me and my girlfriend to play, and I was like, it's too soon. You guys haven't been dating long enough to deal with an Overcooked fight yet. There'll be screaming involved and rage quitting.
Yes.
And
well, it's just funny because it's like for every hour of Overcooked you play, you have to do like 20 hours of Pokemon Go, just like build it back up, right?
Yeah,
like,
just a recovery period. Yeah. Yeah, Overcooked is a game that is not for the faint of heart, because no matter what, it's always the other person's fault. It's like, why didn't you bring me the onions fast enough over this giant gap in the floor, you know?
You idiot. Yeah.
I don't care if we're on a sinking starship. Give me those onions and that lettuce.
George, is that all you've been playing?
Yeah, I went back to play some more Avengers. I want to play more before I share more thoughts on it.
My copy is in my mailbox, and I didn't realize that until 15 minutes ago, and it's been there for 2 days, so I'm going to go get it after this.
God damn.
The level of I don't care about this game, it's literally at my house, and I didn't know it.
Well, another game came out, which I'll talk about now, which is Monster Hunter Rise, and so that's why I just really don't care that I bought Avengers.
True, but still, I've never forgotten I've bought in a game that's in my mailbox. Like... Never even crossed your mind when you left.
I gotta be honest, Seth. I think I'm in the same boat. I think this is the first game I've ever just been like, it's out there.
Yeah, whatever.
Somebody will get it eventually.
It might not be me, but who cares?
Yeah, somebody might steal it, but they can take it. But no, Monster Hunter Rise came out Friday finally. Obviously, I think at the start of the year, I said that was my most anticipated game. So obviously, I was extraordinarily excited for it.
You're enjoying it?
And yeah, I'm about 10 hours in so far. Andy and I both, I think, are about 10 hours in. And I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it so far. It's kind of a mix of Rise and the old games. I mean, it has the quality of life stuff from Rise, so it still plays like Rise does. But there are things from the old games that are just kind of the vibe and kind of more cartoony, lighthearted kind of atmosphere.
You said it.
Seth is.
You said it's a mix of the old games and Rise. I think you mean World.
Yeah.
And World.
He said.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
Well, no, it's just I don't know Monster Hunter that well, so I'm like, was there another game called Rise?
I saw George look up. I just shook my head at him. I was like,
is that a PSP one? Like, I don't know this franchise super well. Is this the second Rise?
Well, what I mean by that is World was the first one to really change the game. I mean, the last one before World was Generations Ultimate. And basically the way that game plays is the same as like the whole franchise has been. And World really changed everything up. It just made it more friendly and easier to jump into and not as, punishing.
So what you're telling me is Rise rolls back that quite a bit?
No, Rise continues it. Rise continues.
Okay, because the way you made it sound was it was like world mixed with the old games, which would make it go back instead of forward.
Yeah, well, what I mean by that is the thing with World was it was a little more realistic. Like it didn't really have too much of like the silly kind of Japanese type stuff in it. And Rise does. Like Rise has like there's a gun lance that's like popcorn. Like it's shaped like a popcorn bucket. And like stuff like that just wasn't in World. So it's just kind of the silly kind of, this is ridiculous and not realistic at all type stuff they brought back. And I really miss that. So it's just a lot more colorful game. And the other thing I love about Rise so far, and I think they did this because they know it's like on the Switch and the Switch is portable, but it's faster. So World, you had to like go and find the footprints and stuff for all the monsters and like track them down, and like each quest would take like probably at least 5 minutes to like go find each monster. But Rise, you just hop in the quest and it just shows it on the map.
Oh, that's pretty
like
cool.
You just know exactly where to go. So they really kind of sped everything up, and not just that, but like the gathering. You would go to the mining spots in World and you hit it 3 times and it would give you 3 iron ore or whatever it is. In Rise, you just hit it once and it just gives you the 3 ore immediately. So there's just a lot of kind of small things that they've done to really speed up the game, and I just super dig it so far. And
is it all the small things, Austin?
Yes.
Don't worry, everyone's singing
song,
that song
right?
in their head right now. It's fine.
How does it go?
All
I don't remember.
Small things.
Got it. No, copyright strike. I'm gonna have to edit this out.
So I really liked Monster Hunter
We do
World.
sound exactly like Tom DeLonge, so like I get that.
I mean, I don't know why anyone would question it. So I really liked playing Monster Hunter World with you and Andy, and then we played once and never played again, even though you told me that wasn't going to happen. You said, "I will make time for this game." I quote. So I'm hesitant to get Monster Hunter Rise because
he wrote that down from 6 months ago and he had it sitting right in front of him.
Because I was like, oh, cool, this will be fun. Me and Austin haven't played a game in a long time. And then I kept playing it, and you never came back online, Austin. I was waiting, and you never came. I got to the first mission.
Well, look, I wanted you to learn the game, okay?
I got to the first mission, Iceborne. Iceborne? Yeah, Iceborne.
Yeah.
That's the name of it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go play. I forget, something else came out. Or maybe something else got in my way. I don't remember, but
I'm going to go play green belt karate in my bedroom.
Yes.
The thing is, I foresee myself playing Rise a lot more because the problem is Andy and I love Monster Hunter, but because that game is on consoles, what we would do was we would both. What is
this? Is my skeptical face. This is my skeptical face.
You're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna be like, "Oh, you're gonna play it more because it's on a Nintendo system."
No, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, are you gonna play it more? Are you really gonna play it more, bud?"
I guess that's a good point.
You're pretty confident before.
Yeah. But anyway, the problem was with Andy and I, we were both playing on PS4, which meant that when we wanted to play, not that we had to do this, but we liked to be in the same room. That way we didn't have to be on voice chat when we're 15 feet away. So we would both bring our PS4s into the office and hook them up to our monitors. But it was like, by the time we did all that, it was just a pain. So I foresee us playing a lot more on Switch where we can just kind of, pop it on and play some. So I'm looking forward to playing more.
What do you think? Because I have held off buying a new Switch.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the rumors of a Switch Pro coming out later this year? Do you think it's possible?
I think so.
Even with the transistor shortage?
I don't know if it's going to be this year. I think I could see it being like early next year.
Announced this year for sure, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want a Switch Lite. I think they're dumb.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the problem with that is you can't dock it and like...
It's just a Switch with less features.
Yeah, right. But it's also a third or 2/3 the price,
That's true.
Plus, I saw someone on Facebook in my area selling one for like $150 or like $140 earlier today. So it's like, all right. So like for that price, like that's cheaper than like the 2DS I bought,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
I think there's a pretty high chance that the Switch Pro is coming. there was that leak, like a rumor or whatever it is from like last week that was saying that it would have some sort of new NVIDIA chip in it that would use DLSS, I think is what it is. The like kind of AI based like upscaling technology.
Double laser
like,
super sampling.
Yes.
That is what that stands for.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. So we have this double laser super sampling technology.
Oh, you got your ass good, Austin.
It goes well with ray tracing.
And anti-aliasing.
What is up with all these stupid words?
Just,
oh my
just
God.
throw the double laser super sampling.
that was beautiful. Good job.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that technology at work, but supposedly it's like pretty crazy, and it actually does a really good job at scaling up your resolution and making games that are running on like not so great hardware look like drastically better than they should.
Have you ever seen it used in emulation?
I don't know if I have. I don't think so.
You can make, I swear to God, you can make games that run at like 600p look incredible at 4K. It's out of control. If you have the resources to dedicate to it, you can make a game. I mean, obviously you can't change textures with it and whatnot, right, but you can make it look like it was built for that system. It's pretty incredible. Yeah. So
I need to look into it because I don't know.
So more important than like the stupid 4K Switch that no one really cares about, the PlayStation 5 uses USB-Cs. Are you telling me that like there could in theory be a dongle that I could plug in and then use that to upscale PSP games once they start selling PSP games natively on the PS5 store? Are you telling me that I could do that?
I don't think anyone's saying
son
that,
of a gun.
Now, hold on. So USB.
Seth might be saying it.
USB-C is pretty fast.
It is,
but I don't think it's fast enough.
Not as fast as Coach on the track.
Input a signal.
That's what the C stands for, is USB Coach.
I don't. If there's a way to do it, it's beyond my comprehension.
Okay. Sorry, I read an article for a website this past weekend about like why the PSN store closure was either great or terrible. Like it's nowhere in the middle. It's either only great news or terrible news. And I just keep thinking like there's got to be some kind of solution, right? Like there has to be a fix. There has to be, because like they're just taking 15 years of art and just like deleting it from like access. Like that makes no sense. And like you'll be able to download everything from it still if you've purchased it. So like the servers are still
doesn't matter
on. Yeah, but like I don't understand why they would just like close off that access.
Okay, by the way, I'm sticking to what I said yesterday. I'm a man of my word. I'm not buying a PS5.
That was last week.
Yes, I'm not. I'm not doing it. They said. I said if they're going to close these stores down, I'm not buying a PS5 until they come up with some sort of solution. I'm not buying a PS5. It's ridiculous, dude. And I don't know. I don't think either of you guys listen to Sacred Symbols, but Colin a while back bought Limo Games.
Right.
And he said that last month, Sony sold him a Vita dev kit. And did not.
Yeah, he tweeted it.
Yeah, it didn't say anything about come on. I mean, why would you even bother being like, okay, here's a dev kit, and then a month later be like, actually, we're closing the stores down?
Well, that was something I wrote in my article, was like, dude, like Abraxia 2 just came out. Scourgebringer comes out in like 2 weeks. Like, what are you doing?
It just seems like Sony, dude, I think a lot of people who love the Vita, and if you don't love the Vita, go play in traffic. Your life is meaningless to me. But
go play your Vita in traffic.
Yeah, go play your Vita in traffic. It just seemed like from Jump Street, like maybe a couple steps off Jump Street, Sony wanted to cut ties with this thing as fast as possible. You know, like they cut support off so fast for the Vita. And then it was like they just wanted to forget it even existed. I mean, if you plug the Vita into the PlayStation 4, it doesn't even recognize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the reason
What?
I brought up PSP, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's just I want to start at Monster Hunter from Monster Hunter 1, and that's a PSP game. Like let me play
Yeah.
let me play this history. Like we're never going to get another Siphon Filter game. Like the last Siphon Filter games ever will be the PSP ones.
I have never been so low on Sony. Like when I saw that announcement, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" After all the bad press you guys have gotten in the last,
It justified
years.
every drunk purchase I've made on eBay, like in the last like 9 months too, where it's just like,
Oh
I was
God.
totally right for like buying these random physical discs. Like
The thing that bothers me is like this has been a problem. This isn't even a PS5 problem. This has been a problem since 2013 or
Yes.
whenever, when the PS4 launched, when they wouldn't let you. I mean, I understand why the PS4 couldn't play PS3 games, because it's not quite that simple, and you probably need a little more power to emulate that. I would not be surprised if the PS5 could do that. But anyway, my point is the PS4 couldn't play PS1 games. They couldn't play all your PS1 games that you bought in the store.
Right.
And why? Like, why was that not possible?
Dude, there's no reason. My PC from like 2006 could run a PS1 emulator.
Right. And I'm sure, like I said, I would bet you that there's a way to get a PS3 emulator running on the PS5. I mean, the PS3 at this point is 15 years old. Like, I kind of doubt that the PS5 can't. If Sony were to take the time and do it, I really doubt that it couldn't run PS3
well,
games.
Xbox said it couldn't be done, and then they did it.
Right. So it's just, I don't know. I just think it's super frustrating. And Seth is right. Like, it's just a huge smack in the face, because at least on Xbox, and I'm not saying everything needs backwards compatibility. Like, I get that it's just, as much as I would want it, it's at times it's a little unrealistic, but at least with Xbox, like, you can still play games from 2002 on your Xbox Series X. It's
yeah,
like,
and it's not every game, but it's like it's really cool that you can still play Crimson
Right.
Skies, which is a game people said they've wanted a sequel to since like the
Right.
first one came out. Like that's my biggest problem. And that was what I wrote about in my article. Was like, no, dude, like it's not just about games. Like I'm not mad that I can't play a video game. I'm mad that like you're like literally just cutting out a 15-year
Right.
period of art. Like this is how people saw the world for a 15-year window, and like you're just removing it. Like imagine removing every like black and white film made in Germany in like the 1920s, which is like where like expressionism
Right.
like was born. Like imagine just cutting out like the first era of HD graphics, like the first era of like 3D HD polygons from like that's just insane to me that you're just cutting out this swath of history.
It's a huge disconnect.
Yeah. I was going to say, if anything, too, Microsoft has kind of added to it in a way, because not only can you play, like you said, it's not all original Xbox games, but you can play your physical copies, but they also have like added just digital copies to the store that you can just buy.
Yeah, man.
And
Oblivion was
like,
$10. Are you kidding me? That's
Yeah.
incredible. Or not Oblivion.
And obviously-
Morrowind was $10, and like now it's free on
Right.
Game Pass or whatever, or not free because
Dude,
you're paying for Game Pass. But
wrap your head around this, right? If I want to go back and play Xenogears, right, or even more, Xenogears. We'll say Xenogears. The best way for me to do that is to hook either my PS3 up, which is getting real close to 20 years old, or
Yeah.
to hook up the PS Vita TV, which is a rare system. You can barely ever
Yes.
find. Why is there no better solution for me to play a PS1 classic that I purchased in high school?
It doesn't make sense. I mean, because I would imagine they're all on the same server. I mean, I'm assuming the PlayStation Store servers are probably all the same. I probably have a couple $100 worth of digital PS1 games that I can't play because
Yeah.
I don't have my PS3 hooked up.
yeah, and what's really frustrating looking at Sony's situation is by looking at what the other companies are doing. And so like I think we'd all agree that like Microsoft is probably doing the best, or at least trying the hardest to be the best, Yep. And the second company would be Nintendo, and like their virtual console was perfect. Like the game selection could have been slightly better, but it was by like $5 for an NES game, $7 for a SNES game, whatever, $10 N64, so forth. Like that was a solution. Like that was great. And then the Switch, it is an imperfect solution to have like the Nintendo Online account, whatever, with like all these games available as long as you're paying them. But like at least it's a solution, like it's not the ideal situation, but it's at least something. Right. And Sony is just like not even trying. And like PlayStation Now, I understand is a service, but it's also just clearly not what people want or what people are ready for. And like I say that as someone who likes PlayStation Now. I played all of Infamous 2 on PlayStation Now. But I don't like that. I don't like that nearly as much as like just let me buy the freaking game. Like it's been 15 years. Please let me buy the games I've already bought from you before.
Yeah. It's just super frustrating to me. And like as somebody who loves Sony and their games and their platform, I mean it really does, like Seth said, it makes me want to, I mean I already have a PS5, but it makes me want to kind of move to Xbox as my main console if I know that when I purchase a game in 20 years I'll still be able to play it. I feel more confident that service would be provided by Microsoft than Sony. I really don't feel confident that the PS5 game I buy today digitally I can still play in 20 years. And it's disappointing, Sony makes a lot of good games and they do a lot of good stuff, but I think when it comes to sort of the more consumer facing kind of friendly ideas that Microsoft has been doing, for the past 5-6 years, they're just not there. They're just really not there. I think they're still missing the mark.
They're heading really close back to the 2006 Sony is what I feel like.
They are.
Where it's like, we're just going to do what we want. Screw people who disagree,
No, we just sold like 110 million PS4s. Like we're doing all right. We know what we're doing. We're the leaders.
Yeah.
Right. We're not gonna twist our testicles together in our sleep. Only dum-dums do that. Actually, Sony, it's way more common than you think.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's like they had so much good hype because of the PS4, and everyone loved the PS4. The PS4 is a great system. We had some, concerns because things weren't working correctly. We never got the features we wanted, and the PS5 rolls around. It's like, well, where's all the stuff we want? Like, why did you bother making a next generation if you weren't including user-friendly features that we really wanted? Instead, all I hear about the PS5 constantly is how much people hate the UI.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah,
it's awful.
It's making me care about trophies less, which I don't like.
Yeah.
Wow.
The menu system is terrible. The trophies, instead of, how it was just like a list on PS4?
Mm-hmm.
It like scrolls sideways and you can only see like 2 trophies on your screen at one time.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It's absolutely awful.
It actually made me buy like a membership to psnprofiles.com because like it does upload.
Wow.
It does upload super quickly to the cloud. And so I'm like, all right, well, in that case, I'm just going to get unlimited uploads from PSN Profiles and unlimited refreshes and just do that. So thanks, Sony. I should have done that years ago, but like, I didn't want to.
that was like a backdoor deal.
Yeah,
like,
you really,
we're gonna ruin the
forced my
systems.
hand there, chief.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there since we're running a little long, but we appreciate you listening. I'm sure you know this since we're at the end of the show now, but we're available on pretty much everything. If you're listening on a platform where you can leave a review for the show, please do so. That really does help get the show out there and get more exposure on us, like Seth's jeans that tore in his gym class.
Well, the exposure was on my butt cheeks there, Austin.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Yes.
If you want to send in any questions to the show, you can do so at our question forum. That's bit.ly/frameskipq. Just put that in your web browser and it'll take you right to our question forum. You can also send us in questions to our Gmail. That's frameskippodcast@gmail.com. More questions, or you can just straight up follow us if you feel like it on social media. It's at frameskippod on Twitter and Instagram, and then facebook.com/frameskippod. Seth is on Twitter at Seth the 90s Kid. I'm surprised you didn't say
me.
it. Yeah, there you go.
Don't follow me.
There you go. George is on Twitter at GB Loftus. I'm on Twitter at Austin J. Eller. Elijah is on Twitter at Loco Lizardman. And Coach is at FrameSkipPod still for some reason.
I just found my Game Boy in my drawer. This is my original Game Boy Color. The original.
A great way to end the show. You just made my night, Seth.
Wow.
Is that see-through purple?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
Well, until next time. Hopefully it's not too far off for me. I hope I'm back. But in the meantime, Seth, go play your Game Boy Color. I'm going to disappear forever. See ya.
Okay. Bye, bud.